Have you ever felt left out? I mean, it's a feeling we all know, but what if that feeling wasn't just temporary? What if it was a constant state, something kind of woven into the very fabric of society? Well, today we're going to dive into a really powerful concept called social exclusion. And it's a term that goes way beyond just being poor. It gets right to the heart of what it truly means to be shut out. Let's get into it. So, let's just start with the big question right up front. Is being poor the same thing as being left out? You know, for the longest time, we've pretty much measured disadvantage by how much money someone has. But that number in a bank account, well, it just doesn't tell the whole story, does it? And here it is, the core idea. Social exclusion isn't just about what you lack, like cash. It's a process. That's the key word. It's a series of barriers that stop people from fully participating in the world around them. It's about being shut out from all the normal stuff, the activities and rights that honestly, a lot of us just take for granted. Now, this idea didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Its journey really kicked off in France back in the 1970s as a new way to talk about some really deep social problems. By the late 80s, the entire European Union had adopted it as a central idea for their social policy, and from there, it just went global, becoming this incredibly powerful framework for understanding disadvantage all over the world. Which brings us right back to that first question. Why did we even need a new term? I mean, what was so wrong with just talking about poverty? Why wasn't that word good enough anymore? Well, for all its use, the concept of poverty actually has some pretty serious limits. For starters, believe it or not, nobody can really agree on one single definition. But even more important is that many people argue it's just a one-dimensional lens. It focuses almost entirely on your bank account and kind of ignores all the other ways a person can be left behind. Okay, this is where the difference really clicks. See, poverty is often treated like a static thing. You're either above a line or you're below it. It's all about what you don't have. Social exclusion, on the other hand, is a process. It's dynamic. It's about the doors that are closed to you. So the focus shifts from a lack of stuff to a lack of access, a lack of opportunity. It's about what you can't do. But you know, this concept isn't some kind of magic bullet. Like any big idea, it has its own set of problems, and it has definitely faced its fair share of criticism. So to really get it, we have to look at the debate surrounding it. And researchers Oslin and Flotten put it perfectly when they said, the concept of social exclusion is no more unambiguous than the concept of poverty. So in trying to solve the problem of a vague term, did we just end up creating another one? Well, the answer is kind of wrapped up in how the idea itself grew over time. The irony is, the ambiguity actually comes from its own success. As the idea spread, its meaning just kept stretching. It started with very specific groups in France, but pretty soon it was being used for everyone from school dropouts to unemployed youth. And as different countries adopted the term, they all put their own unique spin on it, loading it up with all sorts of social and political baggage. So, if the term is so broad and a little fuzzy, how can we actually use it to understand what's happening in the world? Well, this is where researchers got really clever. They found a way to make it concrete by breaking it down into measurable parts. This is how they took a big, abstract idea and actually made it useful. The key was to find what they call proxies. Now, you can think of a proxy as just a measurable stand-in for a big idea. So instead of trying to measure exclusion itself, which is almost impossible, you measure real things like employment rates or access to voting or whether people are part of community groups. And just like that, the concept becomes something you can actually analyze. And this analysis usually boils down to 4 key areas. First up, citizenship. Are you being denied basic rights, like the right to vote or get legal protection? Second, the labor market. Are you locked out of getting a stable, decent job? Third, civil society. Can you join community groups? Can you make your voice heard politically? And finally, social arenas. Are you cut off from that vital support you get from family, friends, and neighbors? So after all of that, why does this idea really matter? I mean, what's the real power of looking at disadvantage through this much wider lens? Its real strength is its sheer breadth. It forces us to see that disadvantage isn't just about a number in a bank account. It's actually woven into our institutions, into our culture. It helps us see the causes of poverty. And that points us towards solutions that aren't just about handing out money, but are about making sure everyone can fully participate as a citizen in society. And that's really the bottom line. If you remember one thing, make it this. The concept of social exclusion forces a huge shift in our perspective. It moves us away from focusing on what an individual person lacks, and it makes us look hard at the systems, the rules, the power structures that are actively locking people out in the first place. So I want to leave you with this thought. Now that you have this framework, how does it change the way you see the world around you? When you look at your own community, do you see not just poverty, but the subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, processes of exclusion at work? It's a powerful question and definitely one worth thinking about.